Do you believe that one of the most important spies of World War II was a young Russian woman with a passion for travel painting and a beloved pet dog? Moreover, her story was obscured for decades, not by national secrets, but by an incident involving that very dog. This is the story of Natalie Lily Sergeyev, the forgotten D-Day spy who played a pivotal role in the legendary Operation Fortitude, a massive deception plan that helped change the course of the war. In December 1943, Allied leaders were urgently preparing for one of the largest invasions in history. Their plan was to deceive the Axis powers, making Hitler believe that D-Day would occur at a different location. To achieve this, they needed a special team of spies, an eccentric and unlikely group that no one would suspect. Among them were a Peruvian playgirl, a Polish fighter pilot, a Serbian seducer, and a Spaniard with a diploma in chicken farming. But the central figure who became the treasure of the operation was Lily Sergeyev. Lily was a double agent. On the surface, she was a French operative working for the German intelligence agency Abwehr. In reality, she was a secret asset for MI5 British military intelligence. The absolute trust the Germans placed in her made her a perfect conduit for passing false information. However, her legacy was tragically overshadowed. In the archives, she is best known for a controversial incident involving her beloved dog, Babs. This event, though, a minor detail, reflected Lily's entire character: impulsive, passionate, and ready to challenge an entire system. Lily's story has been rediscovered thanks to Peter Winnington's biography, Codenamed Treasure, The Life of D-Day Spy, Lily Sergeyev, based on her personal documents such as diaries, letters, sketches, and paintings. These records reveal a life full of adventure, from a Russian aristocrat fleeing the Bolshevik Revolution to an explorer journalist and ultimately a spy. Her life is proof that heroes are not always grand or flawless. They can be ordinary people with flaws and complex personal stories. This video will take you on a journey to explore the story of Lily Sergeyev. We will delve into her escape from Russia, her daring walking and cycling trips across Europe, her confrontations with the Gestapo, and how she became a double agent. Lily was not just a pawn in a political chess game. She was a person of extraordinary courage, willing to sacrifice everything for her ideals. And in the end, she remains an enigma, a forgotten treasure of history that we will uncover together. The Fleeing Princess. From Russian aristocrat to Parisian girl. And to understand why Lily Sergeyev, a free-spirited woman with an artistic soul, became a resilient spy, we must go back to her turbulent childhood in Russia. Lily, born Natalie Sergeyev on January 25, 1912, in the opulent city of St. Petersburg, was raised in a wealthy bourgeois family with a luxurious apartment in the city and a large estate near Kursk. Her life, along with her sister Mary, seemed enveloped in comfort and abundance. However, that tranquility did not last. The Sergeyev family's life began to change in 1917 with the outbreak of the Russian Revolution. The Bolsheviks targeted the bourgeois class, making their lives increasingly dangerous. The Sergeyevs were forced to abandon everything, their apartment estate and possessions, to flee the political storm. Their journey was a grueling survival adventure, traveling from Kursk along the Black Sea through Turkey and finally arriving in Marseille, France in August 1920. This journey shaped Lily's character. She was no longer a sheltered aristocrat, but a resilient survivor, strong and independent. Though their new life in Paris was far from easy, the family tried their best to adapt. By 1924, Lily and her sister Mary were enrolled in a prestigious convent school where Lily began to reveal her innate artistic talent. However, the family's finances dwindled. Her father resorted to trading used luxury cars, while her mother dealt in women's clothing. By 1932, they could no longer afford Lily's private art school education. This was a significant blow to her dreams, but it couldn't suppress her free spirit. She spent her time self-studying at the Louvre, copying classic artworks and honing her skills. These hardships ignited in Lily a desire for adventure. Tired of domestic chores, she sought new experiences. In 1933, at the age of 21, she made a bold decision to embark on a walking trip across Europe. With a backpack of art supplies, minimal funds, and no clear plan, she trekked over 400 km to Berlin and Warsaw to visit art galleries. This journey not only allowed her to explore the world, but also hone survival skills like haggling, negotiating, and overcoming challenges. In Berlin, she met Felix Dassel, a journalist and secret recruitment agent for German intelligence. Though impressed by the kindness of the German people, she was horrified by Hitler's rise. This encounter was a fateful turning point, connecting her to the world of espionage she would later become an integral part of. This trip was not just an adventure, but the beginning of an unstable and risky life, one destined to make her a secret treasure of history. Stepping into the world from artist to adventurous journalist. After her first walking trip to Berlin, Lily Sergeyev realized that a life as an artist living solely off paintings was not enough to satisfy her thirst for adventure. She decided to pivot to a new field where she could explore the world and earn a living journalism. Her intelligence, courage, and keen observation skills helped her quickly adapt to this profession. By writing for a German newspaper, Lily shifted her focus from art to politics, a risky field in a Europe simmering with tension. In 1933, she was granted a press pass to cover the Reichstag fire trial, a shocking political event that solidified Hitler's power. With this pass, Lily gained access to the heart of power, and it was here that she had her first confrontation with one of history's most fearsome organizations, the Gestapo. While attempting to enter the courtroom, she was detained by the Gestapo. Held at Berlin's Alexanderplatz prison, the young Lily showed no fear. Instead, she responded to interrogations with sarcasm and wit. This reckless behavior, which could have led to dire consequences, surprised and unsettled the Gestapo officers. After 2 nights in detention, she was released thanks to an article by her friend Felix Dassel. This experience didn't intimidate Lily. It strengthened her resolve, showing her she could handle the most dangerous situations. After her release, Lily didn't stop. She continued her adventures, walking to Warsaw and cycling through countries like Latvia, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Holland, and Belgium before returning to Paris in 1934. These journeys were not just geographic, but cultural explorations. She documented everything with landscape paintings, portraits, and sharp-witted cartoons. Upon returning to Paris, she held a small exhibition, and though sales were modest, it proved she was not only an explorer, but a talented artist. But her greatest adventure was yet to come. In 1934, Lily and her friend Genevieve Dandres embarked on another cycling journey across Europe, this time sponsored by a sports shop. They cycled through Berlin during the Night of the Long Knives, Czechoslovakia, Prague, Vienna, and Yugoslavia. This journey revealed a darker side of Europe as she encountered the barbed wire fences of Nazi concentration camps. During these travels, Lily became not just a witness to history, but a fighter for what she believed in. She interviewed powerful figures like Hermann Göring and wrote for major newspapers like Le Jour and Le Petit Journal. using her pen to reflect what she saw and experienced. These years transformed Lily from an aristocratic girl into a fearless adventurer. She learned how to live, fight, and survive in a world full of instability. These experiences prepared her for her greatest adventure, becoming a spy in a covert war. The eccentric explorer cycling from Paris to Saigon. After her walking and cycling trips across Europe, Lily Sergeyev realized her thirst for adventure was boundless. She didn't want to be just a journalist or an ordinary artist. She wanted to achieve something monumental, something no one had done before. This led her to one of the 20th century's boldest expeditions, cycling from Paris to Saigon. In 1938, with the support of the French media, Lily secured a sponsor for this journey. The Codenamed Company provided her with a special bicycle made of ultralight duralumin alloy, cutting-edge technology at the time. On September 23, 1938, with a grand send-off in Paris, Lily began her nearly 6,000-kilometer journey, facing challenges that even the strongest men would fear. The journey was far from easy. Lily cycled through treacherous terrains from rural European paths to the rugged Balkan mountains. She faced unforeseen difficulties. In Montenegro, an unexpected accident occurred when her bicycle collided with a donkey, killing the animal and severely damaging her bike. But instead of giving up, Lily showed extraordinary resilience. She cycled an additional 240 kilometers on her damaged bike to Salonika, Greece, for repairs before continuing. In Turkey, new challenges arose, this time political. Tense international relations led Turkish authorities to ban her from leaving by bicycle. And once again, her intelligence and audacity prevailed. Lily secretly left Ankara via a perilous desert route pursued by police. Throughout this journey, Lily documented everything. She took photos, painted, and kept a diary not only of the beauty of the lands she traversed, but also of the people she met and the challenges she overcame. These records became a precious archive offering a unique perspective on the world before World War II. By June 1939, after traveling nearly 6,000 kilometers, Lily reached Latakia, Syria. She was only a stretch away from Saigon, her final destination. But fate had other plans. On September 1, 1939, World War II broke out, halting her journey. Lily was stranded in Beirut, a foreign city with no way to return home. Yet her fate was not to remain in Beirut. France's surrender to Nazi Germany and the rise of the Vichy regime ignited a fierce indignation in Lily. With her patriotic spirit and hatred for fascism, she decided not to stand idly by. She trained as a Red Cross nurse helping the wounded, and it was here that she made a bold decision. Instead of waiting for the war to end, she would actively join it, but in an entirely different way. From a daring explorer, she transformed into a silent warrior ready to plunge into a world of risk and secrecy. Her life after these unimaginable adventures was about to turn to a darker, more dangerous chapter, the fateful choice becoming a double agent. Stranded in Beirut after the outbreak of World War II, Lily Sergeyev faced a critical turning point in her life. The Vichy regime's control over France, aligned with Nazi Germany, filled her with outrage. A patriot with a deep hatred for fascism, she could not stand by as her homeland was trampled. But her way of fighting was not on the battlefield. Lily's choice was bold and sophisticated. She would become a double agent. This was not an impulsive decision. Memories of her 1933 confrontation with the Gestapo in Berlin and Felix Dassel's 1936 offer to spy for the Abwehr resurfaced. Lily realized she had a valuable asset. She had already made an impression on German intelligence which could be leveraged to aid the Allies. It was an incredibly dangerous plan, but she believed it was the only way to truly contribute to the war. In November 1940, Lily took her first step. She reconnected with Felix Dassel, an Abwehr operative offering her services. Dassel accepted, and Lily began working as an informant in Syria, operating under the cover of a French woman living there. The Abwehr saw her as a highly valuable potential agent. To test her loyalty and train her, they summoned her to Berlin. There she learned covert skills, such as using invisible ink for messages and communicating with handlers. A bold plan was devised. The Abwehr believed they could use Lily to infiltrate England. They instructed her to travel to Lisbon, Portugal, and from there to England to join the Allied forces. Their plan was for her to pose as a refugee and, once embedded in the British system, provide intelligence to Nazi Germany. What they didn't know was that this was also Lily's plan, but with an entirely different purpose. However, her journey to England was far from smooth. To reach Lisbon, she had to navigate Vichy border checkpoints, constantly facing interrogations and suspicion. Her calm demeanor and convincing stories helped her pass. She even dealt with a change in handlers when Major Emil Kleemann took over in 1942. Despite the challenges, she remained steadfast. By spring 1943, Lily was in a German-controlled training camp. She learned Morse code radio operation and British geography, preparing to pose as a Spanish refugee. Though an Abwehr agent at the time, deep down she knew she was on her way to becoming MI5's treasure. Lily's journey from a Russian aristocrat to a double agent proved that courage and wit could transform an ordinary person into a secret weapon. She risked everything for her beliefs, and this fateful choice thrust her into the grand chess game of World War II. The perfect cover and journey to England, MI5's treasure. After leaving the German training camp, Lily Sergeyev had one goal: reach England. Under the cover of a Spanish refugee named Dorothy Tremaine, she embarked on a risky journey. With her beloved dog Babs, her constant companion, she arrived in Madrid in June 1943. There, she contacted the U.S. Embassy to pass a message to MI5. This led to a meeting with Kenneth Benton, an MI5 officer operating under diplomatic cover. The encounter was a defining moment. After verifying her background, MI5 recognized Lily's immense value. She was not just an informant, but a perfect conduit to German intelligence. The trust the Abwehr placed in her was her greatest asset. However, her journey to England was fraught with difficulties. Lily spent months in Madrid, awaiting travel documents, living a seemingly normal life, learning Spanish, swimming, and visiting art galleries. This calm exterior masked intense stress. She didn't know that each passing day brought her closer to one of history's greatest deception operations, Fortitude. On November 6, 1943, Lily finally arrived in Bristol, England. But things went awry. Due to a paperwork mix-up, she was detained and interrogated by British security. For 5.5 days, she faced tough questions and suspicion from the very people she wanted to work with. This was a grueling challenge, but with her composure and experience, Lily prevailed. Once fully vetted, Lily officially joined MI5 and was assigned to the double-cross system, a program to deceive German intelligence using double agents. Her direct handler was Colonel Thomas Robertson. Recognizing her unique value, he gave her the codename Treasure, reflecting her critical role. Lily's task was to send coded messages to her Abwehr handler, Major Emil Kleemann, via a network in Spain and Sweden. These messages contained false information about Allied troop locations, suggesting D-Day would occur at Pas-de-Calais instead of Normandy. This was a vital task requiring precision and absolute trust from both sides. Lily executed her role flawlessly. She not only transmitted planned misinformation, but also added personal details and everyday stories to enhance authenticity. This convinced the Germans of her reliability, and they used her false intelligence to adjust their defenses. Lily was not just a spy. She was an artist of deception, using her talent and experience to paint a completely false picture of reality, one that helped shift the war's outcome. The Babs incident and personal struggles. Lily Sergeyev's life in England, which seemed poised to be a glorious new chapter, became immensely complex and challenging. Shortly after arriving in Bristol, she faced an unexpected issue, one unrelated to espionage or war, but tied to her beloved dog Babs. Under Britain's strict quarantine laws, all incoming animals faced a 6-month isolation period. For Lily, who viewed Babs as family and her only companion through her adventures, this was unacceptable. She demanded a special exemption, arguing that she was a critical spy and Babs was an indispensable teammate. However, MI5 refused, seeing it as a minor issue and unwilling to bend government rules. Babs was sent to quarantine in Gibraltar, a British naval fortress. This separation was a profound shock for Lily. The intense stress and exhaustion from her long journey took a severe toll on her health. In December 1943, just weeks after arriving in England, Lily fell ill and was diagnosed with uremia, a serious form of kidney failure. Doctors gave her 6 months to live and recommended removing one kidney. But Lily adamantly refused, knowing surgery would prevent her from continuing her mission. While battling her illness, Lily received devastating news Babs had died in Algiers after being run over by a car. This loss, coupled with what she perceived as MI5's callousness, pushed her to the brink. She felt betrayed. To her, MI5 cared only about her intelligence value, not her as a person. In a fit of anger, she confronted her handler, threatening to stop cooperating if they didn't show more respect. This incident created significant tension within MI5. They couldn't afford to lose a valuable spy like Lily, but they also couldn't yield to her demands. Eventually, after a period of cooling off, Lily resumed work in January 1944. Her health had partially recovered, but her spirit had not. She no longer fully trusted MI5. She felt like a pawn in a larger game, used and discarded. This event prompted her to make another bold decision, one that would show she was not just a spy, but a strategist determined to control her own fate. The Babs incident was more than a minor detail in Lily's life. It was a deep fracture in her relationship with MI5, reflecting a harsh truth about the world of espionage, where loyalty and personal emotions are often sacrificed for the greater good. It transformed her from a reliable treasure into an unpredictable one, a woman willing to do anything to protect the values she believed in, even if it meant defying those she served. The Bold Decision, Lisbon. Mission and Secret Code. After partially recovering from her kidney failure and grappling with Babs' death, Lily Sergeyev returned to work with a significant shift in attitude. She was no longer MI5's unquestioning treasure. Their coldness made her realize she needed to reclaim control over her life and mission. With the finesse of an artist and the cunning of an explorer, Lily devised a daring move. In spring 1944, she was assigned a critical mission travel to Lisbon, Portugal, to receive a radio transmitter from her Abwehr handler, Major Emil Kleeman. This mission was vital to Operation Fortitude. By meeting Kliman in person, Lily could reinforce the Germans' trust in her and ensure the false D-Day intelligence would continue to flow effectively. Lily arrived in Lisbon working under the cover of a British embassy employee. Her meeting with Kliman went smoothly. But during this encounter, Lily did something MI5 didn't know. She agreed with Kliman on a special secret code. This code would be used in her messages. If the code was present, Kliman would know she was operating freely and the information was genuine. If absent, it would signal she was compromised or under duress, indicating the information was false. This gave Lily not MI5 control over when to lie or tell the truth. This decision showcased her intelligence and demonstrated how she reclaimed agency over her fate. However, this secret didn't remain hidden forever. Upon returning to England, Lily confessed everything to her MI5 handler, Mary Scherer. She explained the code and her reasons for creating it. Instead of punishment, this action surprised and impressed MI5. They recognized her not just as a spy, but as a strategic thinker. They accepted her decision, understanding that the Germans' trust in her was invaluable. This strengthened her relationship with MI5, but it also served as a reminder that she was an independent woman, not easily controlled. From then until D-Day, June 6, 1944, Lily worked tirelessly. She sent numerous coded messages to Kliman, providing the planned misinformation. None of these messages included the secret code convincing the Germans she was still operating independently and her intelligence was reliable. These messages led Hitler to believe D-Day would occur at Pas de Calais, not Normandy, prompting him to keep a large force there. This deception helped the Allies succeed in the Normandy landings and open a new front in Europe. Lily Sergeyev executed her mission brilliantly. She became one of the key factors in Operation Fortitude's success, playing an indispensable role in ending World War II. But sadly, immediately after this triumph, she faced another harsh reality: the ingratitude of those she had served. Abandoned and a bitter return. The end of a hero. After the historic D-Day, when the Allies successfully landed in Normandy, Lily Sergeyev's mission concluded. Operation Fortitude's deception was a resounding success, with Hitler misled by the intelligence from Lily and other spies, keeping a large force at Pas de Calais, facilitating the Allied assault. Lily had performed her role flawlessly. But instead of being honored, she faced a harsh reality: the gratitude of the British government was fleeting. Immediately after the victory, MI5 dismissed her. Lily was given 2 weeks to leave London. This decision was not only cold, but deeply unjust. While other double-cross spies were celebrated, awarded medals, and compensated, Lily received nothing. She was treated like a tool that had outlived its usefulness, discarded without remorse. This ingratitude deeply wounded a woman who had risked everything for her beliefs. She had entered the war not for money or fame, but out of hatred for fascism and love for freedom. With sadness and disappointment, Lily returned to France after the war. Her country had been liberated, but life remained challenging. She took a job with the United Nations in Relief and Rehabilitation Administration, UNRWA, managing a refugee camp in Verdun. This work, though not espionage-related, required courage and compassion. She helped the homeless war survivors and those who had lost everything. However, her new life was far from easy. French authorities required her to sign a declaration stating she had never worked for Nazi Germany, an ironic demand for someone who had risked her life to deceive them. This lack of trust left her deeply resentful. Lily's personal life post-war was also turbulent. In August 1945, she married an American Major, John Barton Collins, and moved to Michigan, USA. Though she found a peaceful life, tragedy struck again. Her health, already frail, deteriorated further. Another shock came when she learned her sister Mary, known as Moose, had been murdered. Lily Sergeyev's life, after all its silent triumphs and unrecognized achievements, ended in sorrow and illness. Though she won in the war, she couldn't overcome her fate. Lily's dismissal and abandonment serve as a painful reminder of the harshness of the espionage and political world. Silent heroes who sacrifice everything are often forgotten when the war ends. But Lily's legacy endures. She is proof that courage doesn't always manifest on the battlefield, but in quiet decisions, steadfast ideals, and unwavering commitment to a mission. The Forgotten Legacy: Death and Rediscovery of a Treasure. After all her adventures, silent contributions, and the betrayal she endured, Lily Sergeyev's life reached its end. Despite trying to build a new life in the U.S., with her husband John Barton Collins, her health never recovered. The kidney failure that began during her grueling European years worsened. Lily was hospitalized, and on May 17, 1950, at age 38, she passed away. The death of Lily Sergeyev, a silent hero of World War II, went unnoticed. There was no state funeral, no posthumous medals, and her name didn't appear in newspapers. She departed as an ordinary woman with her mother and husband by her side. Most people didn't know she was MI5's treasure, who played a critical role in deceiving Hitler and contributing to the Allied victory. Lily's legacy, unfortunately, was overshadowed by two main factors. First, the Babs incident. In MI5's records, this was seen as a weakness, an unprofessional and impulsive act that caused trouble for the organization. Second, her decision to keep a secret code from her Abwehr handler. Though MI5 accepted this as a sign of her intelligence, some later documents viewed it as a lack of trust and disobedience. These details prevented her story from being widely publicized, like other D-Day spies who followed every rule. However, Lily's story didn't vanish forever. Decades later, researcher Peter Winnington stumbled upon a treasure: Lily Sergeyev's diaries, letters, sketches, and paintings. These documents revealed a complex, passionate woman. Winnington spent years researching and wrote Codenamed Treasure: The Life of D-Day Spy Lily Sergeyev. The book brought Lily's story to light, showing she was not just a spy, but an artist, explorer, and resilient woman. It clarified her invaluable contributions to Operation Fortitude and the Normandy landings, restoring the recognition she deserved. Today, Lily Sergeyev is remembered as a forgotten hero. Her story is proof that courage and patriotism don't always come in glamorous acts. It's a reminder that history is often written by the victors, and the stories of silent heroes, unrecognized, might be lost without those who tirelessly seek the truth. Lily Sergeyev may be gone, but her legacy of courage, resilience, and patriotism lives on forever.